Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We're driving down the road. We're going home from work. As of right now, we're 1 week out from the Royal Rumble. And as of right now, I still believe that my pick is going to be that Shinsuke Nakamura is going to be winning the Royal Rumble, going on to WrestleMania, and having my dream match in WWE against AJ Styles. But in this last week, there has been this outpouring rumor that will not go away. Every year, there is a rumor, normally that someone's going to appear in the Royal Rumble, but I cannot remember a time when there was this far off of a wild idea that someone was going to win the Royal Rumble. That was a real rumor that just didn't make any sense. I can honestly tell you that for the past few years that we've looked at the Royal Rumble, I thought that we've been able to sort of look at the pack of guys that are going to be in there, look at the storylines that are going in WWE, and honestly thought that it was an easy pick. You can tell that there's normally, 2 or 3 guys that they like to put in the discussion that have a chance to win the Royal Rumble, but you can tell that the batch of writers that they have in WWE make it very, very obvious who's going to win the Rumble each and every year, whether if it's been Roman Reigns, whether if it's been Triple H, even Sheamus, Batista. I mean, very rarely. Last year, I can remember there was 3 guys. I said, this is the guy who's going to win the Rumble, and this is, basically anybody else who has a chance. And it was like Randy Orton, Baron Corbin, and I think John Cena. And that was it. This year, people are really holding on to this whole Daniel Bryan winning the Rumble to sort of show up SmackDown and Shane McMahon to not really help out Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, but to sort of, just show up Shane McMahon for not doing the right thing. Shane's a really good commissioner, but he lets his heart and his gut get in the way when he makes decisions, and he's not doing it fair. And Daniel Bryan's trying to prove it to him, and by proving it, it's basically turning him into a bad guy. So the only way that I can see this Daniel Bryan thing come to fruition is that basically Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn fall short in beating AJ Styles. I already said in another video that I thought that AJ Styles was going to win the match against Sami and Kevin Owens one way or another. He's going to walk out as the WWE champion. But now I would guess that Sami and Kevin Owens have to find a way to get into the Royal Rumble. And I don't know how they get into the Rumble and then also find a way to sort of bend the odds and cheat, whether if they do the good old Stone Cold Steve Austin trick, or they get thrown out of the Rumble and they try to sneak back in, and then Shane comes running down trying to right the wrongs of the referees by letting them get back in, and Shane tries to be the one to eliminate Owens and Zayn by getting involved in the match. Now, for Daniel Bryan to win the Rumble, he has to be an active competitor. How does Daniel Bryan even get to the point where he picks a number? Are they just going to tell a story that basically Daniel Bryan knew that Shane was going to get involved in the match? So basically he just gave himself a number when it was time for everybody to draw. I mean, it's not like they have a Sean O'Hare walking around backstage, basically telling people to do what they already think that they want to do, and Bryan just reaches in the bin and picks out a number. I don't know. That's the whole part of the story that doesn't make sense. I'm not telling you that if I'm not sitting on my couch watching the Royal Rumble on Sunday and Daniel Bryan finds a way to win the Rumble, that I'm not going to be marking out, being the gladdest guy in the room, that I'm wrong. But as a wrestling fan, I don't see how the hell this is honestly possible. And for somebody to go out there, I am conspiracy guru number 1. I believe that my whole Montreal screw job was a work. And I've believed 1,000 other things in wrestling that to a lot of people are slam dunk. This is just the way it is. I think a lot of things in wrestling are that way, that they make you look one way when it was really something else. But for, Daniel Bryan to basically go on every interview and every podcast that he can, and in the nicest way possible, basically badmouth WWE for not letting him wrestle because of the wellness policy. Daniel Bryan, how he gets away with this, I honestly don't know. Whether if he honestly knows that he has WWE, because without Daniel Bryan on Total Bellas and Total Divas, maybe Brie backs out and doesn't want to be a part of the show anymore. And without having both Bellas on the show, you can't have Total Bellas. Maybe Total Divas is able to go on, but I honestly think that one of the main draws on the show is the Bellas. And to me, one of the draws when I sit down to watch Total Divas is Daniel Bryan and John Cena. Without them, I like Rusev. I like, I guess Tyson Kidd's not really on the show that much anymore because of the injury deal. I like the Uso guy, but, I can live without that shit. I want to see Bryan and Cena. I want to see two of the biggest names that were in wrestling. I want to see what they're portrayed like on the show. That was one of the main drawing points to me when it first came out. I didn't give a damn about Eva Marie and all them, but I wanted to see, Bryan and Cena behind the scenes to see what was going on with that. So I don't know if basically just Daniel Bryan knows that, they might be able to let his contract expire someday, but they can't fire him because of the place that he's in and being married to the Bellas, as well as being involved on both reality shows on E! When it came down to it, if he was the general manager and he was just saying the stuff that he was saying, I think that they would have let him go a long time ago. You didn't see Teddy Long popping off when he was doing interviews and things like that. But he's basically badmouthed the wellness policy, basically calling into question how they look at concussions and CTE, and basically saying that, this is the way they think about it, but it's not the way that, others think about it. And, he's gone out of his way to prove through tests that, he is, in the right well-being to wrestle without risk of hurting himself or anyone else or his life and his career. He just wants to do what he's always done, and he's willing to leave the company to do that, and he's proved his point. So I don't really honestly think that they would sit down and say, hey, the Royal Rumble, this is when we just clear this out and basically let this guy get back to wrestling, because he's been cleared by people at top colleges and hospitals across the country that I guess Dr. Maroon would back up, and just say, well, I guess he's good enough to wrestle. It is what it is. I don't think that's going to happen. That's just me saying that I bet against the odds. I'm not sure if right now he is the favorite. I still think that Nakamura is the easiest pick to do it. If I'm not picking Nakamura, honestly, I'm picking John Cena. And if it's not Cena, I honestly don't know who else it could be. I don't really see anybody else on the roster. But then again, with it being the SmackDown Championship, and as good as AJ Styles is, I really think it's going to be somebody from SmackDown. I think if they did a wild finish and Baron Corbin ended up winning, or Rusev ended up winning, I'm not saying that at WrestleMania they wouldn't have a good match. It's the SmackDown Championship match. It's not supposed to be the main event. It's just supposed to be sort of talked about like it is and treated like it is, because it's for a championship. Everybody knows that, there's normally one sort of a draw match that brings you to the table. There's normally like a Triple H match that gets a big draw. Kurt Angle's probably going to have one, and whatever's going on with Roman Reigns will probably be the real main event. That's the way I think of it. So Let me know what you guys think. If Daniel Bryan's really got a shot, because as of right now, I mean, it'd be dumb for anybody to take that bet, because basically you're taking Daniel Bryan and I'm taking the field of everybody else. But I don't think that Bryan has a shot to win it. That's just me. I don't think it's going to happen. Fairy tale.